like this false self is known as the ego. The ego is pretty much a socially constructed you, a socially constructed identity. It's not your true identity. It's what society has ingrained into you. What is up? This is David, and today I want to talk to you about the ego. The ego. First of all, let's define what the ego actually is. You know, a lot of people these days, they throw around that word like he's a very egoic person. Ego is going to stop you from achieving success and stuff like that, right? But let's really define what ego really is. So let's bring this back to when we were born. We were born into this world, right? We were born into this world with a blank slate, a white canvas, if you will. And that is known as our, what I like to call our true self, our essence. You know, we weren't impacted by society, we weren't impacted by our environments, we were just truly ourselves, truly authentic. When we were babies, whenever we were hurt, we would cry. Whenever something was funny, we would laugh, right? We were fully able to express ourselves and be our true authentic self. But then, all of a sudden, society comes in. Society comes in and tells you that you're supposed to be this kind of person. You're supposed to do this. And it starts creating these rules for you. And you start to believe in them because so many people, so many other people also believe in the rules that were created. And this spirals and spirals. And this creates what is known as social conditioning. You become conditioned to the way that society is. And so now you want to try and impress other people, right? You want to look good in front of other people instead of really truly being authentic to yourself. So this form, like this false self, is known as the ego. The ego is pretty much a socially constructed you, a socially constructed identity. It's not your true identity. It's what society has ingrained into you, into us. And so let's talk about identity. What is identity? So many of us see identity as like, this is your background, your age, your skin color, what country you're from, your occupation, and that kind of stuff. But that's not really identity. These are more like identifiers. Like, what is an identifier? Well, it's like just to, let me give you an example. So let's say you're lost in a crowd, and your friend is trying to explain to somebody, hey, I lost David in the crowd. Okay, what does David look like? Well, David is this much height, has this much height. David has this skin color, and he looks like this, right? It's kind of like to identify us out of a crowd, right? It's like to differentiate us between the crowd, pretty much. So these are known as identifiers, but that's not really our identity. And the thing is, how our identity is formed is through three major ways. And there's other ways too, but I'll give you three for today. Our identity is mostly formed through biological drives. Biological drives plays a big part in our identity. Through social conditioning, and also through ego gratification. And because most of our identity is formed out of like these beliefs that society ingrained into us, and marketers marketers like marketing their products and brainwashing us into believing that we're not enough until we get their product. We're not cool until we drive their car. We don't look good until we get a suit or a certain dress or wear a certain watch, right? They make us feel like we are insufficient, when in reality, we are actually very, very worthy. We all are, as human beings, have a big inherent value inside of us, but marketers believe otherwise. And that's why we get conditioned into thinking that we need other things to fulfill us, into creating worth in our lives. So that is how most of our identity and our beliefs are formed. Well, the question is, if this is how our beliefs and our thoughts and our identity is actually formed, where is us? Where is us in this equation? Like, what percentage of us is actually us and not society driven, right? And so that's a big question to ask. It was for most people, it's going to be 99% a socially constructed identity known as the ego, whereas it's only like a small percentage of us is really truly who we are authentically. So that's just a little tidbit on identity and what the ego actually means, and how society has ingrained us to believe into being something that we're truly not. All right. So that's just like a thing to think about and to contemplate about. Like, and I hope it really tries to help you in bringing like your own authenticity and your uniqueness to the world, and really choosing your own beliefs and values rather than having society dictate that. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you found good value out of this one, and until next time, I'll see you very soon.